How long have you been with that company, Mary?
Well, it's 29 years, Stuart. I started as I was a travel agent, and then I was hired with Royal Caribbean from my hometown in Chicago as a sales rep, and then I've been a director for the sales department for, wow, yeah, close to 18 years. I had a little stint in the incentive division as well, but I remember you so well, and you were a great part of the team when you were there, and still are.
Well, thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that. It was great. It was fun. And,
yeah.
it's interesting because in my career, I worked many, many different companies. I worked for several cruise lines, actually. My first was Costa, my second was Princess, and my third was Celebrity. And there's something about working for a cruise line, and maybe this is true for our hotel friends too. I don't know. But on the cruise side, I always felt that the ships were mine, my baby, especially when I was part of Enorgos, because back in the day, man, even Costa, we had it when I was there when the new Eurolook ship came out, which was not very successful, I might add. But with Celebrity, I brought out a ship with Celebrity, and Princess, I brought out the Grand Princess, and there's something special about it, right? You really feel like you're so proud.
Yeah,
Of these
it's
vessels.
so exciting. I mean, everybody gets excited about it, throughout the industry, all our travel partners and guests, consumers. It's a rallying cry for people that haven't cruised in a while. They want the new ship. They want to try something. So this year we don't have any new ships. We're taking 1 year off, and then next year we have 2 more. But it's pretty darn exciting. It sure is, and there's always something new. To promote and to market, and it's a good reason for groups to come back because it's a new ship. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, but it's the top of the hour. But I just want to ask this question:
Okay.
Do you remember what ship did you do your very, very first cruise?
My very first cruise was not Royal Caribbean. Okay, it was another cruise line, and at that point in time, I was a travel agent. I wasn't sure cruising was for me, and then as a travel agent, I went on the Song of America.
Okay.
Royal Caribbean ship, and that I went on a seminar at sea and as a travel agent, and that really changed things for me. I mean, since then, that's really when I found my love for cruising. So yeah, and when I joined Royal Caribbean, we were just about to launch Sovereign of the Seas. That's how far back I go.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I was on the Song of America, I was on the Song of Norway. But my first cruise was actually the Sun Princess. No, I'm sorry, the Pacific Princess, the original Pacific Princess.
Isn't there a newer one? The second one out? Yeah.
That's right. But now listen to this now. The Sun Princess was like a 6,000 ton. 6,000 ton. All I can tell you is, yeah, that's really small. But all I can tell you is the size of the Sun Princess back then is basically the size of one of the on your big ship, one of the tenders on the Oasis or Allure, or one of the tenders. I'm serious.
Yeah.
No, it was a 600 passenger ship. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was 600 passengers, and you have 600 passenger tenders, maybe. But my point is, it was tiny. All right, everybody.
Yeah.
We are getting going here. I want to welcome you, Mary Lynch. Would you take 30 seconds? Give us your elevator speech, your mantra. Who are you and what do you do? In case there's somebody out there who doesn't know you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Lynch, and I have the pleasure of working for Royal Caribbean. I am the Director of Sales for the Southeast region. So all the sales managers, account managers in the Southeast are on my team, and our job is to work with travel partners to build business. And I've been doing that for almost 18 years with Royal Caribbean. I have been in different parts of the country, so I know agents from Canada, from the Midwest, from the Mid-Atlantic, from all over the country. But that's what I do, and I've been doing it for a long time. But I think, like all of us in the travel business, it's so interesting, it's exciting, and it's different, that I love it. I still love it like I did, 29 years ago. I really do.
I can see it. I can tell when we jumped on early and when we talked before about you coming on the show, and when I worked at Celebrity and I would see you at some of the meetings, and I've been to so many events at the same time as you. Just
Yeah.
your passion, your commitment is so sincere. It's like it's truly a part of your life. You really love the business and you love the people. You look at that smile. I mean,
I remember being a travel agent. I remember it so well, and the little promotions and the challenges. So I try never to forget that. I keep that as a part of what I do.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Yep, so it's all from the heart. All right, everybody, I just want to do an official welcome. I know this, when I have a special guest expert on the Ask Stewart Hour, I open it up to the entire travel professional community. So for those of you who are new, this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Stuart Cohn. I'm the founder of Group Boot Camp, and I'm glad you've joined us. And I'll give you some more dates. We actually have a few more guest experts coming on over this next month. But normally the Ask Stewart Hour is something, a special membership benefit. It's where we do business coaching. So the slide you're looking at now, friends, is the only slide you're going to see. We have no presentations to make. We're not selling you anything, only on new ideas, fresh methods, so that you can build your group business. And it's your agenda, friends. So first thing, we're going to kick off with some questions that were sent in advance. And then if you have a question, you have an observation, you have a comment, an anecdote to share, go ahead and type it in. If you want to be bold enough to have me unmute your mic, it would be my distinct pleasure so we can hear your beautiful voice. And if you want to turn your camera on, we can see your beautiful face. But that's up to you. You have to let me know, and I'll unmute you. Otherwise, you're going to look at you. And you can toggle us, by the way. You can make me, my beautiful face and Mary's beautiful, nice and big. So we can
don't do that.
if you want, because the slide will not change. Yeah, for my boot campers, welcome. I am so grateful that you're here today, and this is going to be a great session. Lynn, yes, we're going to talk, Lynn. All right, so here's the deal. Next week, I'm going to send you an email. We're going to make a date. We're going to make a time, and we're going to talk. Hans also did a seminar, Sea and Song of America. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny because that's an old ship. That's an old ship. Okay, so let's dive right in. I know I have a ton of questions for you, Mary, because one of the reasons why you're here is because I went to Joanne, my friend Joanne, who's Vice President of Sales, and I said, Joanne, who's tops? Who's the best? We're talking groups. I want to get somebody who's going to give us fresh perspectives. What's really happening out there today, not yesterday, with groups. So I have some of my own questions, but Linda, one of our boot camp members from Cruises Inc., her kickoff question is about cruise nights, running a fun and successful cruise night. So Mary, my guess is you probably get asked, oh, hey, Mary, I want to do a cruise night. Will you come? Will you support my efforts? And my guess is after 29 years in the business, you've seen the successes and you've seen the failures. So some of the questions is, do we dispense information? Do we sell? How does it work? So if you can boil it down to a couple of key tips that you see agents do extremely well and the agents who just they miss the mark, share some wisdom with us about cruise nights.
Okay. Well, cruise nights, there's a lot of reasons you can have a cruise night. So since we're really talking groups, I think having a cruise night to promote a group is probably the best way because you have something specific to promote. So if you're having a cruise night and you already have an affinity, you invite the people that you know are interested. Maybe it's the people in the network. If you're doing a fundraiser, you invite the fundraisers. So sometimes I would say that the cruise nights that don't work so well are when you invite people and then you don't get RSVPs, so you have no idea who's coming or not. That I know seems like a simple thing, but sometimes people don't collect RSVPs. And you may want a sales rep to come to be with you at that cruise night, right? Which we love to do that. That's one of the things we do. We have created beautiful presentations on destinations, and we can customize it. We have video. So we love to do it. But we want to know, it doesn't matter if it's 20 people or 100 people, we'll be there. But if nobody shows up, and we have had those where like 2 people show up, it might just not be the right night, and we need to reschedule. We understand that. But I think one of the things is you've got to have a decent idea. We know there's going to be no shows. Don't worry about that. But I think you've got to try to collect RSVPs. And then, again, marketing the cruise night, whether it, again, is in your network or if you're going to put it out there to, your local community, you've got to give people time and pick the right night. In certain communities, and Stuart, you're in Tennessee, Wednesday night's not a good night. You have to know your audience. Or when the football games are on in Tennessee on a Sunday, don't have a cruise night or a cruise event, those simple things really can make or break. Those are just some things that come to mind. Also, don't spend a lot of money on food. Or, keep your budget. It's about the event. It's not about the food. You want to feed people a little bit so they're not cranky, but, just don't overdo that and watch your spend there. And I think it is a bit of information. You want people to come who haven't already booked, because you're not having a document party, right, where you're dispensing documents. You're there to close business. And it could be that the people that are there want more information. They want to get to know you more. They want to know more about the event. So it's okay if they're there for information, because you're going to be able to, with the help of your sales rep, give them reasons to book. So those are my thoughts.
Have you ever been, two questions, follow-up questions on that. Have you ever been at an event where they give people the opportunity to deposit right there? Is that something that works, and is that a refundable deposit? Does it help with sort of that bandwagon approach?
Yep. It absolutely does. I think you're spot on with that, because you do, as much as you want to give them information to get to know you, you want business. So I've seen travel agents, and they work with their sales rep. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Maybe it is, the typical bottle of wine, or maybe it is an onboard credit, a small onboard credit, or convincing them that this is where they're going to get the best stateroom location. But having reasons to book at the event, and, whether they fill out a form, whether you save time at the end to take bookings and you get help to do that, however it works best, you definitely want to give them a little bit of an incentive to book that night. Yep. I am all for that.
Yep, and I like that. And, in group boot camp, and you probably don't know this, Mary, but I introduced about a year ago a brand new concept called group launch sequence. Okay. Basically, an entirely new way how to launch a group, meaning that, because the way I think agents have been doing it for a million years is we're sort of in this rush to get the rates out and publish the stuff, give out the materials, and then we plan the information events and try to get as much money as we can and try to build momentum. But in boot camp with group launch sequence, I've switched that, where no. You do not take any money. You do not open for sale. You do not publish any rates until you've given out all the information. You've built up maximum, well, let's see how high I can go. Maximum momentum to a point where they're like, I want in, and now I'll take your money. And so my point in saying this is, folks, if you have a group where the opportunity to get together physically, which is great as a cruise night, then what a wonderful way perhaps to do that. Okay, at tonight's get-together, we're going to begin taking deposits. First one's in, as to Mary's point, you get your best choice, your first choice, and still, by the way, do your VIP sale. By the way, Mary, I teach in part of the group launch sequences, before you open up for the general sale, you have what's called a VIP sale. So the VIPs in the organization get in first, make them feel great,
feel
right?
Special.
And then once they set the stage and you open up to everybody else, all the big shots are going. We got to go too. So great stuff on the cruise night. And I don't know if nobody had any comments on that, but folks, if you do, please do share. Second question that Linda had is about, and I'm not really sure I know the answer to this, because I know some agents do destination weddings, and certainly a cruise ship can be a place for a destination wedding. So the question that Linda had from Cruises Inc. is, can couples get married on the ship, or must they have a civil ceremony stateside and then they can have something on the ship? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's changed over the years. But now they can get married on the ship, and we have a department, and most cruise lines, I'm sure, do as well, that handle weddings at sea. So there's a lot of different. They can get married on the ship. Yes, captains can marry them, or they can bring their justice of the peace, and then either the justice of the peace sails or gets off the ship, depending on when, or they can get married. Some people get on the ship and then get married in St. Thomas or St. Martin or different ports or Tuscany, or wherever they want to get married. But yeah, it's very popular. And pertaining to groups, this is a really good market for groups, because you see a lot of people that look at the price of a wedding on land and think, I'm going to go on a cruise. I love cruising. Maybe it's not my first marriage, so I don't need to do the whole, church and all that. Let's get married and go on our honeymoon. So here's the statistic, is that at least between 20 and 40 people come along for the cruise on a wedding at sea. So you as a travel partner are, able to really build your group business through a wedding at sea. So it's a nice market. And our Royal Romance Department handles all the coordination. Really, the bride and our wedding department handle it. So the travel partner can focus on the group, taking the deposits, handling all the family members that want to go, so the bride and groom don't have to worry about that. But we make it pretty easy these days. We have set areas on the ship. There's different packages that the bride and groom can choose from. So yes, a ship, you can get married on a ship.
And we could probably spend a lot of time on destination weddings on ships, but I just had this thought. I mean, one of the big issues that travel professionals have today is when they do a destination wedding at a hotel or at a resort. They're finding that some of the guests book the cheap hotel down the block and not at the hotel, and they walk in, they're like, wait a minute, because of course the only way that this works is if the guests, all the guests, book at that resort, at that hotel, because that's how the package works. They can't beat the system on a cruise ship because
you can't.
Listen, look, if the wedding is on the Harmony Seas and they want to book it on the Staten Island ferry, they can't come to the wedding party on the Harmony Seas, can they?
That's right. Oh my gosh, that's too funny. But yeah, that's right. You can't. You got to be on board. And with short cruises to long cruises, it pretty much fits into a lot of people's budgets. So it's a good one. Good question.
Yeah, Casey adds a question on here. And folks, if you've just joined us, go ahead and feel free. Just let your fingers do the talk and type in or ask me, and I'll, unmute your mic. But we have Mary Lynch. She's our special guest group expert on the Ask Stewart Hour. She's Director of Sales with Royal Caribbean. So Casey just typed in, hi, Casey. Can the wedding couple be assured that the ceremony will be conducted by the ship's captain?
I believe so, yes. That's something that can be, because I don't think anybody else on board is really able to do it. So, yeah. Now, we do have more than one captain on board. We have actually 3 captains. So, we have captain and then staff captain.
I would want the funny captain.
Yes.
The funny. Not the one who will talk like, because I've met some captains, and they're, they got a tough job to do, and but I want a fun one, who's going to joke around. Okay, Molly has a great question about group shore excursions. She wants to get an idea from you, your recommendations, how that works, because one of the things that I preach in boot camp is never sell the off-the-shelf, bare bone stripped down product, because then you know better than any other .com. The whole idea is to give a higher value, a more inclusive package. That's how you sell groups. I hope you agree with me, Mary, because you don't want that group showing up. You give them the cheap price, and they come back saying, hey, I missed this. This was too expensive. This was sold out. The lines are long. Your job as a travel profession, friends, your only job is to transform it, is to make it big, better, best, so they don't miss anything. There's no disappointment. So let's talk about group shore excursions, and your tips and advice, or just the mechanics of it. How that works?
Right. You know, it is a great opportunity for travel agents to differentiate themselves. And this is a little commercial for our brands, but for travel agents that book group shore excursions with Royal Caribbean, you do earn a commission, because we want you to, you know, you work hard for those shore excursions, so you should earn some money on it. So we do pay shore excursion commission, and we do have a department dedicated to it. So, you know, to your point about, you know, giving them advice. If you think of a port like Cozumel, there's hundreds of shore excursions. What consumer is going to know which one is right for them? They're going to want their travel agent, their travel partner's advice on that. So, so we have, you know, a lot of things. We have brochures that you can download and send to your customers, you know, about certain shore excursions that you recommend. And you as a travel partner can talk to our group experts, our group shore excursion experts, and you can customize shore excursions, which I think, again, to your point, Stuart, about customizing, if they don't like what they're seeing, or they want to combine a tequila tasting with a day at the beach, we can, you know, put that together. If they don't want to be on a motor coach and they want to be in a limo or a van or something with all 6 of their friends, they can do that. And that gives them the flexibility to really customize things. Yeah.
I love what I'm hearing. And I did not know that, Mary. I didn't know that you could customize excursions for groups. I mean, that's brilliant. Why in the world wouldn't we do that? You know, whatever little tweaks we can make to it makes it unique. Therefore, the customer can't say, you can't compare the product to anything else. Can't say, I'll book it on my own. No. You package it in, and it's unique. It's special.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes we hear, especially in the Caribbean, well, I've been there before. Well, maybe you haven't done this excursion, and, you know, maybe we can show you another side of the island, you know, that really makes it different and unique for the guests. So, and then, you know, just in general, there's a lot of competition out there for shore excursions, but, you know, there is certainly a comfort in booking with a cruise line. And I know, and this is probably the same everywhere, but if you book a shore excursion through the cruise line, we know you're on that shore excursion. You're the first ones off the ship. We take care of the shore excursions that have booked in advance, whether it's individuals or groups, because we know you're going to meet your motor coach, and we have them set up. So there's a priority there for people that book shore excursions with the cruise line. And there also is, of course, we know where you are. We know what's happening. We take care of you, and we're in communication with that shore excursion company while you're off the ship.
Yeah. And right. Yeah, there's no doubt that, and you know, Mary, there's peripheral, there's external companies. One of the companies I started, I founded, resortforaday.com. There are options out there. So, folks, there are pros and cons. What we're doing here. One of the advantages, in addition to what Mary just said about just a little more control over the event and getting off the ship earlier, because you're the one who put it together, is the fact that you're not dealing with external suppliers to make payments to, that all the monies are still going to one vendor, that brand being Royal Caribbean. So, folks, there are pros and cons, but what I'm hearing here is an opportunity I never knew existed. A, the conventional part, B, the custom part, and so that might be something to look at. So I hope, Molly, that answered your question. Yes, Casey, your question about the wedding couple, I hope we answered that question. And folks, let your fingers do the typing, get those questions in. I'm going to go to a question now that Hans sent in from Cruise and Vacation Planners. Hans wants to talk about fundraising groups, and also, if you can maybe start off just mentioning, because maybe it's the same conversation, Mary, about cruises for charity. But before I let you go on this, you know, we have a lot of talk about this in group boot camp, because this is one area where everyone says, oh, I want, you know, raise money, raise funds, this kind of stuff. It sounds great, but it ain't so easy. You know, I've seen in my time so many fail, because the end of the day, if that consumer says, well, I don't want to go spend thousands of dollars, you know what, I'll write you a check for $100, boom, and we're done, which maybe that's okay. But the whole idea is you want them. The whole idea. So people are not just going to, go on a group cruise, just because a percentage goes to the fund. It's got to be a bigger picture. So I'm going to tee you off on this, because this is going to be an education for me, because so many fail. How do we make them succeed?
It is a good question. We have a lot of successful fundraisers, and what I see with the fundraisers that are successful is that they repeat. We don't just do it one year. And we have one fundraiser that actually turned into a charter, for a breast cancer survivor charter. I mean, amazing, that started out as a group. So once you get a successful one, and a successful one can start out at 8 staterooms, and build from there. But that's the good thing, is that they do repeat. So, you can pitch a lot of ideas to different companies. You have to get their enthusiasm, their buy-in, if you will, for it to be successful. So I think it does help to be persistent. If you are part of an organization already, then you've got a connection. Right. And I think the organization has to be willing to promote it themselves. If they're not going to allow you to be at maybe some of their other fundraising events leading up to the cruise, or they're not going to send the promotion out to their members, then it probably isn't going to work. And, those are the kind of things that they have to buy into it and believe in it themselves. And somebody from the organization has to be enthusiastic about it, whether it's enthusiastic about cruising, and then also you got to pick the right cruise, right price point. There are some organizations where the organization is going to want the suites, and there's some organizations that might want a shorter cruise. So you've got to market the right price points for the right organization, and so it is about qualifying all of that. And I would say too, any of your sales managers would be more than willing, I know we would, to go along on that conversation. And then also, depending on where you live in the country, I know it's not always easy, but if you're near a ship, we would be happy to take you and the decision maker, once you've qualified it, to see it if they haven't ever been on a ship, Right. But there are there's one that I just can never forget this name. And, the agent didn't think she was going to do anything with this, but it was up in northern Florida. It was years ago, and it was called the Bow Wow Meow Cruise. We all, a humane society, but this was their local. And, she ended up with about 32 staterooms, I think, if I remember, and, way beyond what her wildest dream, because she had never tried it before, but it just struck a chord. And, we offer group amenity points that can be used to go back to the organization.
Okay. Yep. And let me just jump on that for a second. And I teach everybody in boot camp the group amenity. Everybody pull up a chair. Listen very carefully. Group amenity points are your business only. They are not their business. That person who runs that organization, the group leader, whatever, and ain't none of their business. They're not the travel professional here. And that's like playing poker and showing you cards. Good luck with that. The whole idea here, friends, is that these are tools that you work with, and you figure out how to leverage them. You figure out how to use the amenity points best, and you build, because you're the one. Now, we all know that Mary and her company, they're the ones giving us these tools, but at the end of the day, you as the agent, you need to take the credit. Because if you keep saying, oh, Royal gave me this, oh, Royal, then that group leader is going to say, oh, okay, I'll just go to Royal. What good are you?
So true.
Okay, with all due respect, so agents, you need to own this. This is what you use to leverage, to sell, to provide incentives. And I love the fact that, Mary, you said that it sure helps to be a part of the organization, because if you want, they get a dozen calls a day.
Right.
But the problem is, people come to these charitable, these not-for-profits. They're self-centered. They're saying, I want to help you make money, but I really want to make money too. So this has to be a sincere, passionate desire from the heart that you really want to help this organization, And you may not make a ton of money on this yourself, friends, because you're going to give back, but it's something you're doing to give back, and in the long run, you're going to build up a list yourself. You could get breakout, individual business, groups within groups. You know, sometimes you got to give before you get.
And that's it, and that was another thing I had written down in your right on, is that this is a way to build your base of business, your book of business, and get new clients that know about you that you can then market to and get referrals from. So, you know, that's what groups does, you know, for everybody, but certainly that's the way. And, you know, if you're the fundraiser, there's a lot of pressure on fundraisers to make money, and they're looking at all different ways of making money. And this is one part of it. And you could be creative, you know, in terms of, you know, once you get on board, you can set up silent auctions to earn even more money while you're on board the ship. We've all gone to that, right, where you go to a party and there's a silent auction for, you know, whatever it is, gift cards, hotel stays. That's another way the fundraiser can make money when you're on board. So it's not only that initial amount of money, right? Yeah.
Brilliant. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's key, because if you come up, first of all, of course, you definitely want to come up with a package. You don't want to just give that bare bones strip down a product. It has to be something special, and but still, folks who can compare prices, they want to make sure that they're not, you know, it's not a crazy price point, but that's where you do some onboard events to continue raising money, having fun events like that too, and also, you know, these people, they may not know each other. Maybe they have obviously the same passion, whatever that charitable their purpose is. But they may not know each other, but they'll have that affinity that we care about this, we care about this. But to do events on the ship, to bring in a speaker, somebody who's an expert, something, so there's actually a highly experiential. It's not just, listen everybody, it's not just another vacation and some proceeds are going to help this charity.
Right.
It's the event, right, Mary? Has to be event focused, whether it's an award ceremony, somebody who's going to be a guest speaker, an opportunity to write or to paint or to take pictures. You know, the sky's the limit, but get creative here. And then you work with people like Mary, her colleagues, other brands, their supply reps too, who have seen this, done this. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, folks, but what you have to do is ask for help.
And you know, there's a lot of charities out there that are having 5K races. You see them all over, right? And these aren't necessarily big organizations. They can be very local, or your local Make-A-Wish chapter, or whatever it is. But that's another way to market the actual cruise. If you know, get a table at the 5K, or you get a T-shirt promoting the cruise and, you know, walk or run in the 5K. I mean, there's fun things like that you can do, and, you know, they are looking for people to participate and do things like that. So that's just something that comes to mind because I see a lot of those.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I think if you know, one sure way to fail is just to walk in off the street and just be sort of self-centered.
Have some sort of connection and bring it to them, or at least somebody that can introduce you to, you know, the organization.
You bet. Great stuff. That's great. And Jennifer, you have a great question posted I'm going to get to in a second, but our friend Sam just posted here along these lines here. I'm going to read it. I have a friend who is a local celebrity musician that just recently performed on PBS, interested in working with me in a group. We've kicked around some ideas, including a cruise. Our reservation about a cruise is whether there would be a venue, indoors or out, on a ship for him and his band to perform one evening. This is a great, and I want, because I've had a lot of experience with this kind of stuff, but you want to take that on, Mary?
I'll start, but I know you're very experienced in this too, Stuart, but, you know, we have, and this is a little commercial, but we have meeting space on all of our ships. Now, that's great for all kinds of meetings. But as far as entertainment, we do a lot of entertainment groups where bands come on board, or, you know, duets, whatever it is. And there are definitely venues. So when you want to set that up, we just want to know your agenda. And, you know, as long as you can work around our schedule, and we'll try to work around yours, there's absolutely time when our theater or one of our lounges with a stage isn't being used. And we'd love to have the group come in and perform. And, you know, you'd make it a private event for just your group. And that's what you want to do, because there has to be a reason for them to come to, you know, sign autographs, to hear this band, to be with their friends that enjoy the music. And, you know, so that's something we do regularly. You know, everything from doo-wop to 70s bands to heavy metal to gospel, opera, you know, salsa dancing. I mean, there's been so many. But yeah, we love that sort of business. You know, we have a lot of great entertainment on board, and we draw a lot of groups, a cappella groups. You know, I'm thinking of so many as we're talking about it. But, you know, that's where, again, we work together with you. The one thing I would say is, once you decide on a date, you need to work with us to block the times you want to have the performer on stage far in advance, because we have our programming, and then there's other groups on board that might want to use that lounge. So don't wait. And, you know, what you want to do is pick the date and talk to us right then and there to make sure we have the space available for you, so that you don't get caught not having the space. We'll confirm it to you as long as we have it.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Great question, Sam. And I want to add a little bit there, because you know, as a business coach, when somebody gives me permission to speak freely, I tend to point out the things that can go wrong first, because also, Mary, you may not know this, but my nickname, given to me by one of my great friends and mentors, Mike Marchette, who I have a show with later, an entrepreneur show at 3 o'clock, by the way, which I'll tell you about in a second. You guys should come. It's free. Everybody who's on now, if you're not already signed up, I'll be on Mike's show. Sometimes Mike comes on my show. But how I digress is that my nickname is the wrench, because I'll throw a wrench into somebody's best plans. But I do it lovingly, Mary, because I don't want you guys to fail. I'd rather say, uh-oh, but... So you don't fail. So let me just say that if you're thinking of bringing on a band, there are a ton of logistics. Not only are they going to pay for their own space? Do you have to pay for it? Do they have to have separate staterooms? Are they going to share? Number one. Number two, their equipment. Oh my gosh, we can spend hours talking about that. That could be a nightmare, getting their equipment on. Either they're going to bring it on, get a pre-approval, or if they ship it down, there's a lot of logistics, friends, because they're... Listen to me carefully, and Mary knows this all too well. As big as these ships are, there's very little, if any, storage space. You're going to put it in a cabin. I have had groups, right, where they buy a separate cabin strictly for supplies. Yep.
They pare down what they're bringing considerably, and you have to be ready for that. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of logistics. So, you know, we work through that with you, but you're right, and it's got to be planned out from, you know, the staterooms, the tour conductors that they're going to want to use for where they sleep at night, what their compensation is going to be, and you have to build that in into the price of the cruise. So, you know, and don't be afraid to do that. You know, if people want to come see this group, they're willing to pay. They're getting a great cruise experience plus. But you do want to put a package together where it's an autograph signing. You know, maybe there's a electrical set and an acoustic set. You know, you want to do a couple different things to make it special. Maybe you put together a, you know, shore excursion with the band or something like that. But you want to build in those value adds. But yeah, from a logistics standpoint, if they've never done anything like this before, and what sort of expectations the band has. And then also, back to our earlier point, is the band has to really be excited about this. They've got to want to go. If they're not excited about it, they're not going to be out talking about it at their shows. And that's really where it works. You can send emails out or whatever, but if the band isn't excited, or the group or the person, it's not going to work. So they've got to want to cruise.
They've got to want to cruise. They want to be
Yes.
vested. You want them to share it on all of their social media. You want them to be friendly and mix and mingle, and perhaps you can do a VIP event and a little bit extra money. They get a backstage. They have a couple of cocktails. They sit down with the drummer and they bang away, whatever it is. But yes, fabulous idea, Sam. Thanks for bringing this up. And
really good idea.
We could talk about this for days about what we've seen work and not work, because it can work phenomenally well, but it can be a scheduling nightmare. But know before you go. Know before you go. I like that.
Right.
Okay, here we go. I just again, I know we've had some new people come in. Welcome to guests. If this is your first time, this is the Ask Stewart Hour. The slide you're looking at is the only slide you're going to see, because there are no slides. This is not a webinar presentation. It's what I call the unwebinar. This is open conversation. You guys drive it. What do you want to know about building your group business? What's working for you? What's not? I've got Mary Lynch here. She's Director of Sales with Royal Caribbean Cruises. Been there for 29 years. Man, if you're not going to get good advice from Mary, there's nowhere else to get it. She's been there. She's done that. And I'm so grateful, Mary, that you're giving us this time. And I'm so grateful to our visitors and to my boot campers who are here too. We've got a lot of questions coming in that I want to try to get to as well.
Okay.
And by the way, yes, at 3 p.m. Eastern, I'm on Mike Marsheff's show. The link, I think, is on my Facebook site, Stuart Cohen Show. Don't go there now. Don't leave. Stay here. Stuart Cohen Show. And you'll see the link somewhere there. Come and join. And by the way, just so you know, on February 23, it's an open Ask Stewart Hour again. Special guest Letty Padilla. She's with Amber Waterways. She works the inside group department. So we're going to get an interesting perspective on the operations, the mechanics of blocking groups, doing groups, managing groups from a river cruise perspective. And then Feb 28, a guy who you know, Mary, Ron Golaski.
Oh, he's a great guy.
He's super duper. Super duper great friends. In fact, we started at Celebrity at the same time. We've still been friends. Now, Ron is now Vice President of National Accounts with Celebrity, but he was in charge of charters, corporate meetings, incentives. So, friends, if you want to get the inside scoop on corporate meetings, incentives, charters, oh my gosh, Ron, just like you, Mary, he is so enthusiastic. He loves what he does, and he's coming on Feb 28. So, everybody, if you want those links, just send me an email. And they're free. Just come and we're going to have a great time. All right, Jennifer. My home-based agency gets hit up all the time by local sports groups, charities, seeking a free trip as a fundraiser giveaway. What's the best way, Mary, to respond to this type of request legally in conjunction with Royal Caribbean? As a small agency, I certainly can't cover a $1,000 cruise as booking as a gift. Thoughts and advice on how to respond to these types of requests?
Well, I empathize, because as a cruise line and, well known, we get asked that a lot. And just give you our answer in terms of, charities is what we've done, and this goes back many years, but we had to try to funnel, because there's so many good charities, and, you want to help everybody that you can, but you have to narrow it down. So we've selected certain charities that we as a corporation support. One is United Way, and that's the one that comes to mind, is our biggest charity, and there's a few other that have to do with ocean preservation, marine preservation, wildlife fund. So we've narrowed it down. So there is a way that organizations that have those sort of interests can request officially cruise for us. But what I think she's talking about, they were looking for ways to build their own business and use a cruise, and there are not a lot of complimentary cruises. And, we're in the business of selling cruises, right? Not giving them away, so we have to think about that, but we don't say that in that way. So I think we can turn it around to, if a travel agent feels that this organization has a good network for them for business, you can do a few different things that don't cost you the price of a cruise. I've seen where, even raffles for a basket with items and maybe a little bit of money towards a cruise might get you in the door. Also, some of these companies do have a budget, and for marketing a cruise. And like even in the silent auctions that I see, companies organizations can buy a cruise and then raise money. So like you can use a certificate, which we sell, and travel agents earn commission on it. You can purchase a certificate for a complimentary short cruise for $600, and that's the cruise and all the taxes and fees. And then that organization can put that as an auction item. People bid on it, right? So hopefully they get more than the cost of the cruise back in terms of funds towards the organization, right? So you can try to turn it around that way. And of course, we're talking about charity cruises. I mean, that's the way to turn it around, is to let's book a cruise and get everybody to donate to the organization. So those are just some ideas, because I know that comes up quite a bit. And then if there is an organization that you want to partner with Royal Caribbean or another brand on, your sales managers are there to help you with that too.
That's great. Great sage advice there, and I know agents get asked for this frequently. And Gina, our friend Gina, who's here in the house, she had also posted, what about certificates? So you did mention that, so that's great. That's a definite, it's a great idea, great option.
Certificates, Can I just give a little commercial on certificates? Again, we're not the only cruise line, but I think we do it well. They can be used a lot of different ways for groups. There are incentive groups you mentioned that may not all want to travel at the same time, but they want to award prize, and I'm stealing some of Ron's thunder there, but they can work to, offer a group who doesn't want to travel as a group, but wants to award achievement, whether it's purchasing, if you sell a house, you buy a house, you get a certificate. So there's different ways to do it, but the certificate is a great way to market it, and it's much more affordable than I think a lot of travel agents think. The certificates, again, they're opting in at $600, and the agents earn commission on it.
Okay. Yep. I like it. And you're not selling a specific date, a specific ship. The certificate has applicable opportunities.
That's
and so the customer pick and choose. And normally the agent will take that booking then, and who knows, they could become a loyal client, and you have a wonderful relationship.
Yeah, that's right. And it works for a lot of charities.
Yeah, great idea. The only thing I just want to add to that, too, is I love using the word strategic partnership. Which is, if somebody's banging on your door, rather than saying, no, nothing's free, no, this kind of stuff, take a look at the organization. Are there any opportunities to say, you need that from me, and you've got something I need from you? Maybe, like chocolate and peanut butter, if we put it together, we have a nice combination. So, friends, before you get turned off by that, think. Explore, look up the organization, look up the business, see maybe you can work out a beautiful partnership where, it makes sense for me to invest in a certificate or a cruise because this is what they're going to give me. Now, I'm going to turn this around, friends, because you're out there banging on doors yourselves, aren't you? You're out there banging on doors of local businesses, vineyards, wine stores, this, that, and the other thing, fundraising groups. Why? Because you want to sell what you got. You want them to be the group leader. You want them to buy into your great idea. And sometimes they don't call you back. They don't answer your emails. Why? Because there's a ton of people banging on their doors, and wait, now we got somebody banging on your door looking for freebies.
Yep.
So, before you go banging on their doors, think of the same thing. How can you structure a deeper, more involved win-win relationship? And you'll have a new partner, man. I love strategic partnerships. So I just wanted to put that out.
I think it's so true. And again, you're not alone in this. You've got Stuart, who is awesome and, just amazing ideas. And you've got your sales manager, which with hopefully it's Royal Caribbean, but whatever brand you're working with and you think is a good fit, you should have that support because together, we can come up with something. And come together on something for sure.
That's it. Yep. Good stuff. All right. Annette has a question here, or a comment. Here we go. I'm going to read it. Thank you, Annette, for submitting this. I have a fundraising group scheduled on Anthem in September. I'd like to set up 3 to 5 group dinners as opposed to every night. so guests can take advantage of specialties, shore excursions, and
Yeah.
all the activities Anthem offers. They're all
Uh-huh.
supporters of the charity, but not exactly an affinity group. Okay, so
Okay.
Annette is sharing, and this sounds terrific. I love your idea where, sometimes too much structure, sometimes too much togetherness turns people off. So Annette, good thinking that, hey, let's have some structured stuff, and let's not. Let's let people go have fun.
There's groups within groups and friends that are traveling together, and that's the best thing about a cruise, right? Because you don't, you're not all doing the same thing at once. Some people might want to go on a shore excursion. There's some togetherness, like you said, at the hospitality desk or the cocktail parties, but then, people can go off and do their own thing, and some people might want to have a nice steak dinner on their own, right? So that's great, and thank you very much. That shows it works, right? Good.
See, that's what I love about you, Mary. You always show gratitude for the business, we don't even know where Annette, she may not have her account in your territory, but you're grateful because you love your brand, you love your business, and you're great. Thank you so much for that. That's why you're here on the show. That's why we're friends. I just want to say one more thing, friends, which is that. Oh my goodness, here we go again, my ADHD kicking in. I'm a million miles an hour and I forget something very important I was going to say. Fundraising, dinners, sharks, this kind of stuff. Oh, yes, escort, ESCORT. Look, all this stuff we're talking about, friends, if you're going to bring on a band, if you're going to have these private breakout dinners, all this kind of stuff, you need to be there, friends. And in boot camp, my boot campers know this. I preach that you need to be there. If it's any kind of complex group, I don't care how small. It could be 8 staterooms, and if it's complex, you need to be there because things will go wrong. Things change. It's just what happens. And with all due respect to Royal and all the brands out there, stuff changes when you get on that ship. Oh, we got to switch your room up, whatever. So it's your job to be there, friends. And at boot camp, I teach you not only be there, but build yourself in, bake yourself into the cost. Don't say, well, it's going to run you 10 grand for me to be there. No. You're baked into the price. So you tell your customer, no. You don't have, because they're going to say, I'm not going to pay for you to go. And you say, you don't have to. I'm going to be baked into the price because, frankly, my friends, you don't want to do this without me there. Yeah. You want to go have a good time.
Yes, you're right. And, we have onboard group coordinators that assist, but they don't have just one group. They're helping all the different groups that are on board. Mm-hmm. So particularly if it's an entertainment group or anything that's complex like that, and when you're organizing things, you're being there gets you the group next time. Yeah. Because what we do know, right, it's a statistic that people aren't loyal. We have to earn their loyalty, right? And you make yourself invaluable to them. That's why, people use travel agents. You make yourself invaluable to them, and you're worth it. You're absolutely worth it.
Here. All right. Love it. All right, we've got 9 minutes left, and my friends know we start on time. Actually, we start early, and we end on time. So let me buzz through these here. Lynn has a great question. What might special onboard and onshore activities be for a wellness group, Mary? So like if it's a yoga or a fitness or a nutrition or a spiritual group. Just any ideas come to mind that you've seen done that have available to that sort of special?
Well, I've seen people organize running. If you want to run in different ports of call, we can help organize that for you through our shore excursion department if they want to do a little run. If they wanted to, again, we have conference centers. We have our own yoga classes, but if you were going to bring on a yoga instructor, you can use our conference center as long as it's booked for you to have your own yoga classes. I think those are a couple things that come to mind. And also, if you bring, say, a yoga instructor or a nutritionist, you can have sessions that talk about nutrition, how to stay healthy all the time, even when you're on vacation. And, I hear from a lot of people, the old, I've gained weight when I'm on a cruise. Well, a lot of people don't because there's so much fresh food. So that's a lot of things people don't realize, that you can eat a lot better because you're not cooking it yourself. But, there are a lot of health and wellness activities that we already have on board, and then you can customize some of your own. And if we haven't thought of it, we love that. So, we can put it together for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. So definitely, friends, plug into the stuff that's already going on. Plug into that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
That's right.
Don't overcomplicate this.
Right. Yeah.
Lenore says she's coming to the Mike Marshevitz Stu Cohen show later. Cool. Gina, happy Thursday to you. I'm going through stuff here. Annette says, can I arrange this? I think that was to a former conversation. So, Annette wants to know if, I think Annette was talking about those little mini dinner where they can dine together. So that's something that Annette, should she call the group coordinator?
Yeah, her group coordinator or her special events. You have a special events coordinator on the Anthem, and those are you can organize and pre-book dinners in the specialty restaurants. You do pay in advance, but you can book. You request, like, if you want to go to Chops 8 o'clock on X date, we can book that for you in advance. So it depends on the size. If it's a large group, like 50 people, that might be that you buy out that restaurant for that time frame. But if it's a table of 8 and a table of 6, but we absolutely can do that, and your group special events coordinator, should be able to do that. And if you need my help, if you're not getting an answer or something, I'm just mlynch@rccl.com.
Thanks, because somebody earlier on asked that. So M. Lynch.
M. Lynch.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say, it's Mary Lynch, not Merrill Lynch. Some people get confused there. Anyway, that's me.
And if you didn't get it, folks, send me an email or whatnot, and I'll happy. Thank you for offering that, Mary. I appreciate that. All right,
sure.
We have 6 minutes left, so we're going to see if we can race through, but give some good quality answers here. Dan, our friend Dan, who's at boot camp, radio station trades, radio station promotions, and again, I've seen some terrifically successful, but a lot fail miserably. Mary, go.
Me too. I agree. When I hear that, I think I go to high to low, right? Because some are terrific. They do work, but again, the radio station and whoever is going, you have to have a Pied Piper, a DJ, somebody that's going to come along. If not, then you're not going to get the extra advertising, because the radio station is going to give you this package. It's going to cost X amount. And I always say, start by cutting that in half, the cost, right, Stuart? Because they want to charge you a lot. But if they have an interest in it and an enthusiasm for it, and the DJ wants to go, or whoever, if it's a talk show, then you've got something. Then it could really work, because they're going to not only have the commercials on the radio station, but they're going to be talking about it, that they want to come with, and they want to talk to their travel agent that's going to tell them all about it. So I've seen some of those really work, with radio stations that play music, maybe 70s music or 60s music, and they want to come on and be together. Big thing is there has to be a strong following from the DJ. Again, otherwise they just want to sell you advertising. So you got to watch that.
Yep. Just remember what we talked about before. People are banging on your door asking for freebies. Well, you're banging on their door, but there's got to be a reason. There's got to be a bigger purpose. Thank you for a great question.
That's a good question.
Mary, for that. Lorraine says, all right, we're going to take a couple more here, because I want to end off with one big question at the end. I'm meeting with, this from Lorraine. Hello, Lorraine. I'm meeting with a wedding venue owner. Is this a good idea? I can suggest that they offer a certificate towards a honeymoon cruise if they purchase a certain package from the venue. So, so I understand. So let the wedding venue play, say, hey, if you book your wedding here, we'll give you one of these certificates. Is that an idea?
I love that idea. Yeah. That's fantastic, and I have not heard that one before. That's great. Yes. They probably have to spend so much on their wedding before the venue would be profitable for the wedding to buy the certificate. The other thing about the certificates that's great is they can purchase an entry-level certificate. Let's say it's $600, and then you can sell the couple to upgrade. So if the certificate's for a 3 or 4 night, you can sell them on the difference. Maybe they want to go on a longer cruise, or they want to go on, to a balcony. So that is a great idea.
Yep, great idea. Terrific. Thanks for bringing that up, Lorraine. We're going to go back to Annette real quick. Can those dinners be scheduled in the provided the complimentary dining venues, can a table or an area be reserved for a group in advance?
Yes, you can absolutely work with your, it would be your group partner advocate on your dining, and you should be getting not a schematic of the dining room, but a form that you fill out, and you tell us who you want to sit together,
Okay.
and we should be able to accommodate that, you know, for the most part, yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Annette. Thank you again, Mary, for that. I'm going to answer this one, if I might. Casey said, I have 8 cabins on the sailing. How can I afford to go by myself and escort the group? So my answer, unless you have something else to add too, is obviously if it's a complex group and you need to be there, 2 thumbs up, then there's the opportunity to use part of the, whatever you're going to earn from the tour credit, tour conductor. You don't want to be giving that back. And let's just hope you were able to pick a date that's got some nice bonus amenity points that you can use, whether it's bonus commission, which you want to find the highest value, the highest dollar value, everything to possibly offset the cost. But you're going to have to amortize your cost, Casey, over everyone else. You've got to amortize it, spread it around so everybody's paying for you to be there. And yes, they're going to be paying more, but they're going to be getting more. Right. You have to feel very comfortable and validated that you don't want to do this without me there, so I'm baked in, and they'll be cool with it.
You know, one of the things that I'm thinking about groups have been the most successful. If people, you know, sometimes we're talking about fundraisers and weddings. What if you don't have those connections? You know what? You are a group leader. What's on your bucket list? I have seen those be so successful where a travel agent, you know, you're going to be working on this cruise, but hey, everybody, join me on a cruise to Alaska. Join me on a cruise to Europe. And, you know, you invite your clients, you invite your family and friends, and pretty soon you have a group and you've earned a tour conductor. And, you know, that's, I know, probably basic, and Stuart, you probably cover that, but we can't forget that. If you want to get in the group game and none of these other ideas really are working, then you create the group. Pick something. You know, people, especially if it's a little more exotic, but not even, you know, if they have never been to the Caribbean or San Juan, and you organize a couple shore excursions, whatever it is, you are the reason they're going to go. And they're going to be like, I'm going with my travel professional. I feel so much more comfortable going.
Yep, I love it. So, all right, this is the because we've got 15 seconds. Mary, the one thing you wish agents did a better job at, did more at, or they make mistakes at, one thing, just say what it is that you wish they did better.
It's 2 things. It's work with your strategic account manager and follow up on your leads. We all get busy, but follow up, keep in touch with your customers. It's so basic, but, you know, sometimes a group takes 2 years, and I'm probably going over to close. Keep at it and keep following up.
Okay, great stuff. Simple. Hey, everybody, thanks for sticking around. I thought this was a great session. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me your feedback. Mary, thanks for being our special guest.
It was a pleasure. Thanks to everyone who joined today. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you. And Stuart, you're awesome. Thank you. I hope I get invited back.
You're awesome. Thanks, Mary. Bye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.